All right, hello, Thousanders. We are back, and we have a very, very special guest with us tonight, Chance Drew.
Hi, how are you?
We're happy to have Chance with us, and tonight's topic that we're going to be talking about is our favorite book series.
Or top two.
Or top two. All right, top two. Fair enough. Fair enough. And we're only going to talk about the series in general, not a review of each book.
That would kind of be a spoiler,
and it would be a little long for a YouTube video. So, Emma, why don't you go first and tell us one of your favorite book series?
My top. So this is number one.
Number one, numero.
Wings of Fire.
Okay.
It is a very good, clean series. So it's good for young kids that like kind of more fantasy stuff. If they're used to older fantasy stuff, it's good for those types of kids. It's
Very
about dragons and prophecies and magical stuff, kind of.
All fun things. So my first favorite series will probably be Ender's Game, which some might be surprised that it's actually a series, which it is, instead of just a standalone book. The standalone book is great, a classic sci-fi book, but it actually goes on for what's called the Ender Quartet. There's 4 books in that series, some better than others. But I like that series a lot. But then it actually transitions over into, and if I had Ender's Game with me, I would show it, or Ender's Shadow, excuse me, the Shadow series, which is Ender's Shadow, and then there's these other books like Shadow of the Giant, Shadow of the Hegemon, stuff like that. And then just the Ender universe overall, I've read, I think, 13 books in the series.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's awesome.
It is a lot, and they're okay. There's probably 3 or 4 really great books in the series, and some mediocre ones and some really bad ones. And I think I've kind of topped out on the Ender universe at this point. Not sure I'm going to go back to that well, but I really enjoyed that series of books.
Nice. So I'm unprepared. I don't have any resources with me. But my first favorite series is the Artemis Fowl series. I remember reading those all throughout just my teenage years. I remember I started reading it before the last 2 or 3 books came out. So I got to read it to the end, and basically it's a story about a young kid. Starts out, he's either 12 or 13. He's a criminal genius named Artemis Fowl, and starts off with him.
Cool name, very cool name.
It is a cool name. It's a threatening name. you tremble in fear.
Especially if you're a small rodent.
Yes.
Foul.
Wow. But basically it's him. He discovers that there's a world of fairies, magical creatures, but instead of exploring it, he decides to kidnap one and hold it for ransom. And over time, he develops a friendship with these creatures, and basically he's evil, but he has good intentions with some of the things he does. Ultimately, he's trying to find his father, which he does a little bit later on in the series, and it just catalogs kind of his kind of time with the fairies, solving issues on the world and under the world where the magical creatures reside at the time. But it was a series that I loved just because it ended really strongly. It had a really good ending that left it open for, they're still going to be out there having adventures. They're still going to be, causing mischief around the world. You don't necessarily get to read about it, but you're really satisfied with the series. And it comes down to about 7 or 8 books, I think.
Nice. So the first book is called Artemis Fowl.
Mm-hmm.
Artemis Fowl, the name of the main character. I like it. That sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So what's your second favorite series?
My DOS book is Werewolf. It's more for teenagers, even though it says ages 10 and up. It's more for teenagers. I definitely suggest
Be
that.
warned.
It gets a bit gruesome at the end, but it's a fun series if you like werewolf stuff.
Werewolf stuff.
Supernatural.
Any vampires?
One creature that's basically a vampire, but barely mentioned at all.
If you say
Very
lycanthropy,
couple.
somebody's going to think you're talking about a vampire, I'm sure.
There you go.
Like barely any vampire stuff.
Barely any.
We're
Okay.
bad, I guess, but I don't
We're
think-
bad. Okay.
But
Very nice. So the second favorite series that I have this is the 3rd book in the series, The Hero of Ages, and it's the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. And I have been hard on Sanderson in the past. I will admit, The Way of Kings is a really lousy book, even though a lot of people really like it. The Mistborn trilogy I really, really enjoyed. I thought that it had some really interesting ideas that it dealt with, but also it was probably the most unique fantasy magic system, if you will, that I've read in a book before, and I'm sure there's others out there that maybe have done it better or whatever. But the system itself was all based on metal of all things, and it was like kind of played around with rules of magnetism, which was really interesting. But the themes of the books were really cool. By the end of the book, it started to deal with godhood, apotheosis, word of the day. Look that one up. We have to look it up. And I thought that was really interesting. I really like that series from beginning to end. Still a little bit too much talking, not enough doing, but overall solid series.
Yeah.
So it's about magnetism, like.
Well, that's how the magic system is kind of set up around metal and magnetism. It's pretty cool.
So my second favorite series, it comes down to the first series by Rick Riordan, which is the Percy Jackson and the Olympians. It's a great series. The first
Is that
5
how you
books,
say his name? Riordan?
Riordan? That's how I say it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were. I didn't know if
Like
you were
Rio
the official
Orton.
source on how to say his last name,
Rio Arden? I don't know. I say Riordan. I'm pretty sure that's how it's said.
or is it
but I can be wrong.
Mjolnir? Is that something else?
Yeah, that's something else.
Okay.
Different
Don't
mythology.
really talk
That's sort of the
it.
summer. But but I love the first 5 books. The second series he did, I can't remember what the other ones are called. They're good, but I don't think they're as good. I feel like his
You mean
his
the-
writing style.
The Heroes of Olympus series.
Yeah, it's a good series, but his writing style started to falter. I think towards the halfway point.
Although they were pretty good.
They
Have
were.
you read Magnus Chase?
No, I don't want to.
Oh, you didn't like that one?
A bit more cussing in my
Oh,
Really? Okay.
Or
The
at least
Egyptian
what-
series is good.
I just didn't like it as much. Bit different.
That's all right.
I guess maybe a bit more dark.
Fair enough.
Okay.
But the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series is just really good. It's kind of the grassroots for his entire universe, and it's just really solid. I think. Like, I mean, it's kind of a more teenage style. Things are a little more ridiculous and goofy with some of the jokes and comedy and the talking, and it's kind of hard to picture like taking these gods that have been so immortalized and reducing them down to a point where sometimes a teenager is able to just completely confound them, but kind of fits in with mythology in general, I think. And it's a really pure and awesome series. You get to see this one character just rise through the ranks of mythology, learning about his parentage and everything else going on while trying to stop the rise of this ultimate evil titan, basically, Kronos.
Yep.
And the whole thing is just really awesome. From start to end, it's always entertaining. It's always moving at a pace. Even if there's not fighting or humor, they're developing the characters. And so you really get attached to everybody, in my opinion, and it's just really solid all the way through.
Very nice. Very nice.
Nicely stated.
Nicely stated. Thank you, Chance, for being our guest on today's Thousander conversation. We hope that you all are enjoying your books and enjoying your favorite series as well. We hope that you'll find some enjoyment in these series that we have mentioned this evening. And
Hope you check it out.
hope you check it out. And as always, keep reading. See you later.
He doesn't.
Thousander Club out.
Out.